As you can tell by my professional dress today and more foreshadowing in a previous video, this chapter is intense and I wanted to be dressed formally as I deliver it. And now, heart attack. Aaron went back to worrying over the weapons on the desk in Haluki's office, having no stomach for food now. He sat in Haluki's chair, elbows on the desk and face in his hand. He was in over his head, and he knew it. He had 4 dozen fighters at most. At most! How could they possibly prevail against hundreds of Artemaeans? Even if the restorers did have a little magic, Arteme had more. They always had more. Besides that, he was not playing it out right at all. What was he doing? Getting Eva so mad at him? But he could feel it, the control he so desperately desired, flitting just out of his grasp. And it made him crazy. He should just call the whole thing off. It's too soon, he muttered, not for the first time that evening. He lifted his head and stared at the measly weaponry in front of him, and then he heard a noise. When the closet on the wall across from him rattled and the doors unlatched, he first thought that his stressed-out mind was playing tricks on him. But then the doors opened further, and before Aaron could make a sound, Mr. Today emerged from the closet into the office through the enormous glass tube. Mr. Today took a few steps before he noticed the strange weapons strewn over the top of Gunner's desk. And then he looked up and saw Aaron slowly rising to his feet. They stood stock still, both completely startled, facing each other, just a few feet apart. Neither moved a muscle, and thoughts flooded both of their minds. But Mr. Today's first instinct was to warn his daughter. But before he could do anything to stop Claire from coming through the tube, Aaron Stowe jerked out his arm and grabbed a handful of heart attack components from the desk. Without hesitation, Mr. Today whipped a pen from his robe and shot a blinding highlighter spell into Aaron's eyes. But Aaron, unfazed and spurred on by Eva Fathom's dare, didn't need his eyes to know where the mage was. As he reeled backward, he flung all of the components at once toward the man, shouting, "Heart attack!" 5 clay hearts sprouted wings and flew at Mr. Today. The old mage tried to dodge them, but the components had locked in on their target. They slammed into his chest, knocking the mage to the floor as they found their mark. Shocked by the impact, Mr. Today gasped and clutched his robe. The pain seared through him from his chest outward in all directions, stopping his breath. His eyes. He closed his eyes, sending one last message as the heart attack spells stabbed deep into him. 5 times the power and intensity of 1. He writhed on the floor, shaking. Aaron, blinded, called out to his team, unsure what had happened. "Help!" he called out. "I can't see!" A second later, Aaron heard another noise from the cabinet. "Help!" he cried out again. "They're attacking!" His housemates came thundering in. By the time Claire Morning stepped out of the closet and saw her father on the floor. Mr. Today had stopped shaking and lay completely still. Crawledge and Bethesda seized Claire, and Liam clamped his hands over her mouth. He grabbed a rusty knife from the desk and held it to her throat. "Not one word," he said. Everyone stood transfixed by the strange, horrific situation as one by one they realized what Aaron had just done. What's happening?" Aaron called out anxiously, but then his sight miraculously cleared. He scrambled to his feet, ready to attack, but everyone's attention was diverted to the closet where the strange glass tube faded away before the restorer's eyes. The question is for you this weekend, will everything that he created disappear now? What's going to happen next?